Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rising Stories Podcast. I'm Corrine Sandifer, your host. Each week, I interview a business owner or author, and we chat about building businesses. And we talk about working as a boss and learning how to work through the struggles and the successes that come with it all. We share our best tools and our best practices with you. And we also discuss topics that we can all relate to, such as work-life balance, living with intention, and dreaming big. So sit back and relax, grab some wine or some coffee or water, and listen to these women share how they are rising. And I want to make sure that you are connected to Rising Stories Podcast. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button on iTunes to get the latest episodes. Also, the best and fastest way to connect with me is on Instagram or Twitter. If you have a question, go to Twitter and find me at Corrine Sandifer and let me know what you like and what you don't like about the show. I'd love to hear your feedback. You can also find me on Instagram at Corrine Sandifer, and I love to do Insta stories. So make sure you're following me and catch some of those stories. Hey guys, it's episode 79, and my guest is a savvy businesswoman who had an idea for a meaningful and playful activity game and toy called the Christmas Star from Afar. Natalie Ard is the owner of Star Kids Company, and she shares her journey with us from all the way from idea to product on the shelf. We talk about everything from choosing a manufacturing company for your product and all the way to promotion. We also discuss our favorite TV show and how you can be present with your kids while being an entrepreneur. But before we get started, I want to tell you that today's podcast is being brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/rising stories. There's over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, your Android, or your Kindle, or your MP3 player. I love listening to books in my car, so I've always got some kind of book going in the car, sometimes even two, and Audible makes it so easy to just download the book that I want, and then I turn it back in, and then it comes back. I can choose another one the next time. So check it out, and if you missed this link, I have added it to the show notes along with all the information mentioned on the show, so you can check out all the links. Here is my conversation with Natalie. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Corrine. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Welcome to Rising Stories Podcast. I'm excited you're here.
Well, thanks. I'm excited as well.
So you have a business where you have these two amazing products. One is a Christmas nativity set with a book, and the other one is an Easter base with like nesting eggs, like one per week. And I'm really curious. I want to hear more about those two, like more description about it, because I'm really excited about them because I love nativity scenes and sets, and I have this one that my kids have used forever, and I love it. So I think kids learn so much with being able to move things around.
Oh, I 100% agree. So the name of my company is Star Kids Company, and the two products that I have out right now are the Christmas Star from Afar and the Easter Story Egg. So the Christmas Star from Afar is a similar hide-and-seek family tradition to some of the elf traditions that are out there right now. Mm-hmm. Different in that it tells the Christmas story. So the Star from Afar, it comes with a hardcover book, and it comes with a 15-piece wooden nativity set. And the book is a rhyming story about the three wise men following the star to Bethlehem. So how the game or tradition part of it works is starting anytime in December, one of the pieces of this nativity set is this wooden star. And mom and dad will hide the star in their home in the evening for their kids. The next day when the kids wake up, they hunt around the home until they find the star. And then when they find it, they take the three wise men from their nativity set and they're going to move them to wherever they found that star hidden. The next night, mom and dad hide it somewhere new, and the kids go get their three wise men and they move their star. So through hide and seek, you're creating the three wise men journey around the child's home.
Yeah.
And then Christmas morning, the star lands right on top of the stable, and the three wise men find baby Jesus on his birthday. So it's just a fun way to tell the Christmas story and to remind kids of why we get to celebrate Christmas in the first place. So it's fun and playful, and you can make it as silly as you want. Sometimes I hide candies with my star. Sometimes I hide it in goofy places. So it's just a fun way to experience Christmas as a family that's also helping them remember the historical reason behind the holiday. Yeah, so that was the first product I made.
Where's the funniest thing you've hidden the star in your house?
So I have taken duct tape and I taped it to the ceiling. So they were looking everywhere. They never thought to look up, and so it was taped to the ceiling, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then I've done goofy little things like buy one of those little puffball nose at the craft store and googly eyes and brown pipe cleaners. And I turned the little star into a Rudolph. And so they thought that was cute. And as my kids have gotten older, since it's not a magical flying star, they know that we're hiding it for each other. They take turns hiding it for each other. Whoever finds it, on Monday gets to hide it that night. So it's just, it's really the whole family gets to get in on the fun.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And do you hide it? So do you hide it every night, or you just decide when you want to hide it?
So
when you're going to find
it's really flexible, so you can kind of work it into whatever you already do around Christmas time. Mm-hmm. You could start December 1st, just like an elf tradition, and go all the way until Christmas. If you have younger kids, and that might just be a little too much for them, can play for 2 or 3 days before Christmas. It's really however you see fit as a family.
Yeah.
That it's still getting that message across to them.
Mm-hmm. And I think parents, with the whole elf thing, you think, parents are like, I think they're so overdoing something like that, because I think they tend to overdo it and don't put boundaries. But if you could say, we're going to do it, like you said, we're going to do it 3 days before Christmas, or our tradition is to do it every Sunday. You find it Sunday morning.
That's good too.
Of Christmas, sort of like an Advent kind of thing. Maybe you can incorporate it into your Advent readings and things on Sunday, or do a Sabbath and Saturday night. But I think people I always laugh, because I'm like, you started a tradition that you don't want to keep up. So remember to try to do a tradition that you can continue on. Like, don't make it too hard for yourself. Like, you're the boss.
And exactly. And so this takes the pressure off too, especially when you get the kids involved, where my 11-year-old is hiding it for my 6-year-old, and that it doesn't have to be this grand thing every day. Or if I forgot, it's no big deal. So like once in a while, my kids will wake up and be like, Mom, we didn't hide the star. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll hide it for you when you get home from school, because it's just this open game we're all in on. And so I'm hoping that it'll be a tradition that our family will do for a long time, because there is no magic to it. And I left like gold dollar coins with the star before. So it's just something that we've implemented, and we actually did this tradition. It looked very different before I even made it into a product. And so that's where this whole thing was born out of, was my desire to make something for my family that was both fun, but that had meaning. And then I realized that our family couldn't be the only family that wanted something like that.
And so you just made it for other people. Did you start small, like made just a few things, or did you go straight to like, mass production?
Well, I honestly had no idea what I was going to do, how this was going to look, when I decided, okay, I'm going to make something with this idea. So when we had originally done it, when my kids were really little, I would just read to them the story of the three wise men of a children's Bible. I had a star that I spray painted gold, and I already had a children's nativity set. So that's how it started. And then when I decided to move forward with maybe making something I could sell to others, I started with writing the story and doing all the artwork. And I didn't know if I was going to hand make these, if I was going to have, a small batch of a couple hundred made, or if I was going to mass produce them. But I made my very first set with like printing of the artwork and Mod Podge and this really thick plywood. And my next door neighbor helped me cut them out on his skill saw. And it took forever. So there was, I was going to be selling maybe 10 or 15 of these if I did them myself. And so I figured out how to get them mass produced. And I went through a site called Alibaba. I did a lot of research. And so my very first year of selling them in 2014, I had them manufactured in China. I really wanted them manufactured in the United States, but it was very difficult for me to find what I was looking for, a place that would print the book, somebody that would do the wood and the screen printing, and then someone needs to package it together. So I ended up finding a great place in Asia that I've been working with. So then I just kind of had to figure out how to sell them.
Yeah. And so that was interesting that you went from, knowing that this is something, so like inception of you're just like, this is, well, I'm on to something. This is something that my family's enjoying. Other families must be wanting something as well. And then you went to find they call it something, I can't remember, like a supplier or manufacturer.
Yeah, it would be a manufacturer, supplier, either works. And some people go to a middleman, like a broker, to find one for them, but I didn't have a lot of like capital thing to put into it to begin with. So I just did what I could, which was hard. But I learned a lot from it. So I'm actually glad I went that route. Yeah. It required a lot of research, but I didn't have a background in creating products, in manufacturing products, in marketing, in none of that. I was really just a mom with an idea. And I slowly put the pieces of the puzzle together to figure out what to do next. And what's really great, I didn't do anything like crowdfunding or anything, but there's all these resources out there now for people to get the capital they need to start. That have ideas that someone can support. Right. Yeah. I do like that. Well, it's like the fidget spinner, I think, started that way. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. But it's also amazing to think about how many ideas are probably lost because of the fear of, okay, I have this idea, but I have no idea. I don't know what to do with it. Yeah. So how did you find the manufacturer and the supplier person in China or in Asia? Alibaba is like, it's a business to business website. So you can go on there and search for suppliers, but you kind of have to beware because there's a lot of them out there, and you're going to be wiring money to another country. You really have to do your research and follow up on their references. So I want to say it was 4 different companies. So I had found some great articles on really how to narrow down on Alibaba who's a legitimate company and who's not. Like there's different certifications you can look for. So after I did that, I got quotes or bids from 4 different companies. And then I started calling references and really narrowed it down. But what was kind of cool is what it came down to is the company that I originally used, I had wooden dollhouse pieces in my daughter's dollhouse that were made from this company. Like I found their logo on there. Oh. So I felt so comfortable. They were a little bit more expensive than others, but you're like, they're legit. Sense of comfort. Yes. Yeah. Comfort. Exactly. Yeah. That they sold under their own brand name in the United States. So I also knew that they would be confident in meeting all the United States standards when it comes to making toys and gifts and, lead content and all that they already knew what they were doing. So. Yeah. So that was, you did your due diligence. You have
people think, oh, I want to do this. And, there are two types because I do business consulting and coaching. And so I know that there are like two different people that one will be like, oh, I can't find the right person. I don't even know where to start. And so their idea just sits with them and doesn't go anywhere. But what they need to know is that or they might get taken. Like, I mean, it could have been you, it could have been, another person where if you don't do your homework like you did, that very easily could have gone wrong, sending money to a company that isn't viable and just wants to scam you. And so,
or even sending your idea to someone and not knowing if they might just run with it and make it their own.
Right. That's scary too. Yeah. Yeah. And so, working hard, I think, people you have to do your homework, and it's not something that happens overnight, right? How long from the time you decided you wanted to do that to the product in your hand?
Mine moved relatively quick, which I still look back on, and I can't believe it all unfolded so quickly, but it was about a year. But that's,
a year's on the long time, but quick too.
It's a long time, but when it comes to idea, drawings, writing, creating the book, the digital files, and then also the manufacturing process, because that can take a couple months, and then it takes a month to get here. But I think hard work, like you said, and then you have to give yourself some realistic expectations of it's not going to happen overnight. And things take a little bit longer than you plan that they will. But if you set small goals, you have to keep reaching towards those smaller goals, because the big one of, okay, my idea is now on the shelf at, down the street at a local store, that takes a while. It does take a while. And it should take a while, but you want to make sure that you do everything the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. And do they give you like an amount that, you have to produce you have to manufacture so many units?
Yes. Depending on what it is and depending on which factory, you're usually looking at least 1,000 or 2,000.
Wow. That's a lot. Yeah.
So it is a lot. It's a big risk, because it's also
risk.
like, my goodness, what if my idea doesn't go as well as I think it will? So, but there are other, you can also get some samples made instead of having a full manufacturing run, have some samples made and then be able to run that by people or do a pre-sale of some sort to really get an idea of, hopefully others are as excited about what you've dreamed up of as you are.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So there are ways to really kind of like focus group it out a little bit before you take that big dive into purchasing inventory.
And are you in different stores? Are you now getting them like Christian stores, Lifeway, or even, I mean, your products can lend themselves to any store, really. I mean, I could totally see it at TJ Maxx or, different places.
So that's taken time too. I started with the first year, I only sold online on my own website. And then I also sold just at some local stores because I really wanted to get feedback on pricing and I wanted to get feedback on packaging. So that was 2014. And then in 2015, I invested a lot of time and money into trade shows. And so that's where you come in contact with the retail stores.
The buyers, yeah.
With the buyers. And so by the end of 2015, I had also brought on a couple of reps. So they're independent sales reps that, they call door to door or have relationships with these stores. So they were more independent stores, like a store owner that owns one, maybe 10 locations. And by the end of 2015, I had over 500 retail stores.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it was different. I had never done anything like that before. And your pricing is obviously different because now you're not just selling at retail, but you have to have a wholesale price. You have to make sure that your cost can accommodate that. But it's grown, the business has grown year over year, not only with adding an extra product, the Easter product, but I'm slowly hitting these new goals that I've reached for. So I started more with independent stores, and this year I'll be in some larger, more well-known chains. So the product will be in Barnes& and Noble this year. The product will be in Cracker Barrel. And then I don't have my specific date yet, but I'll be going on QVC in November.
Ooh, that would be great. In November.
So it's great. There's just all these, but it takes time. You don't come up with your idea, make it, and then it's in Target 2 weeks later.
Right.
That also that's a major financial risk. So you have to just keep growing so that you can buy more inventory, and then you're ready for that next step. And you learn a lot along the way. So.
I bet. And you think when you get a manufacturer, you're like, is this manufacturer a good one? And will they continue? Will the quality be the same? Will I have to change manufacturers? Right. You got to make sure that when you do choose one, you were smart, because I think that you went with, a very reputable one. It might have cost a little bit more than the next company, but at the same time, you knew that they were in business to be in business, and not going to leave you high and dry. Because if you go with the cheaper person, they may be, one of those fly-by-nights and, close down their factory, and then you're like, I got to start over.
I know.
So
I know. And things, things weren't perfect either. So I was a small fry for them. And also not having ever had anything manufactured before, I didn't know that there were certain specifications I should be calling out on, say, the thickness of the cardboard box that all my, my master pack, they all come in, or the way that the pieces were to be wrapped in the inside. So there was a lot that I didn't know, and problems that I did have the first year, which have now been fixed, and I had to learn the hard way. But overall, they gave me a really good product on the parts that I asked for. The things that I didn't specify went the cheapest route. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that was, you learned a lot about that year one. And year two, I had everything more buttoned up and understood what I should be asking for and where I needed to specify certain things.
Mm-hmm. So Natalie, while you were doing this and building this and finding out all the right things to do, were you doing another job, or were you, and of course you are a mom, so that is another job in and of itself, but did you have a third job?
I did not. Okay. I did not. I was, a stay-at-home mom. So prior to having my first child, I was in sales. At the time I started this, my littlest one was about 2.
Oh, wow.
And my older, oh my goodness, she was, maybe 8. Mm-hmm. Is that right? She was 7 or 8 years old. So my kids were little, and they were home most of the day. I think I had one child in full day school at that point. So although I had more time than if I was in an office 9 to 5, it was definitely hard to figure out where to squeeze in the time. So I worked a lot at night, and I worked a lot very late, or I would get up before my kids got up and just squeeze in wherever I could. But I feel like that's a similar journey for most entrepreneurs, especially they're coming from either a position like myself, or they have a 9 to 5 job. And so you just have to, you really have to dedicate the time, and it's not glamorous and it's exhausting, but that's how you have to start.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you've got to do what you can with what you have, and the time. And a lot of times, if you are, have a full-time job and you're wanting to work something like this at night, it seems like it makes you want to go faster, just because you're like, I really want to quit this job. I really want this to go and to fly. And
right.
So,
and when you're something you're excited and passionate about, you don't mind carving out the time for it too. Like it's not a chore. You're actually, you can't wait to get to that part of the day where you can sit down in front of your computer or your sketch pad and get working on it again, because it just brings you so much joy.
Yeah. So tell me, Natalie, what's a day in the life of Natalie now? What are some of the things that you're doing? And I assume your kids are in school or, older and
They are.
and self-sufficient at this point, or somewhat. And then,
Yes.
so what do you do now? What do your days
So
look like?
my days are way less frazzled than they were a couple of years ago. All three of my kids are in school, so that is a huge help. But that, the kids leave, they're at school from about 8 to 3, and they're home the rest of the time. And, I'm still shuttling to soccer and to dance. So I try to get up very early. Sometimes I will work in that time frame. Sometimes that's me time, because that's kind of usually the only time I can fit it in. And I'll read, or I will exercise, or listen to a podcast. But usually once the kids are out the door at 8, I still work from a home office. So my days are really, I feel like they're all over the board, and it depends on what season we're in, because both products I have are seasonal products. So there's these weird shifts of what's happening. So right now it's October. All of my retail stores are taking shipping right now. So I do have an assistant that works with me now who is just amazing. And between the two of us, she does all the billing, the shipping, and I have a warehouse that we work with. So it's a lot of logistical stuff right now. Also handling logistics for these larger companies that are taking in their inventory right now as well. I deal a lot with going back and forth with a PR person. Right now is a relatively busy time, so I'm not doing a lot of the creative work. But the days fill up so fast. I often look at my planner. I still love to use an old school,
me too,
paper planner. And I will look at it some days and be like, oh my goodness, there's so many things on here. So, but I have to be flexible, because you never know what call might come in, what email might come in, waiting for a container to get unloaded, dealing with freight forwarders. So it's a constant flow through the whole workday, or like recording podcasts, but it changes every single day. Usually, so my kids get home around 3, and I try to completely block off the time from 3 to 4, so that I am present with my kids when they get home, and we get homework started, and we make snacks, because I want my kids to always feel that I am 100% there for them. And I feel like that's a benefit of being an entrepreneur and working from home. Yes, I might have to push my work day a little bit later into the evening, but I try to block out usually about an hour right there that they feel that mommy is 100% present. And then from 4 to 5:30, I get what I need to done. And then off and about until bedtime with dinner, after school activities, and taking the kids in bed. Yeah. And then I usually have to work a little bit more. And then I try to block out about an hour for hubby at night too. Yeah. So just that he also feels that I'm not completely sucked into the abandoned business. Like you have to create time for yourself. And I learned that the hard way, transitioning from being a stay-at-home mom to where I thought I was starting a side business, and really it was a full-time job, was a very hard transition for me. And the place that I often cut out or got shifted to the end was time for myself. Right. So I was no longer exercising, which brings me, it's such great stress relief, and it's taking care of myself. That went away. Reading went away. I just was feeling so bogged down. So I think it's very, very important to carve out family time and personal time, because that re-energizes you to dive back into the business.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. And I think you are finding that balance for you and for your family as far as your schedule goes, because what I'm hearing is like you're you're being purposeful and conscious about, spending that, being 100% present for yourself, for your me time, for your kids, and for your husband. And that just makes us more productive, I think, when we are,
absolutely
doing, not feeling like they're getting slighted, makes us more productive, because then you fully feel like you can, be 100% at your job and what you're doing, so that you're getting the maximum, work out of yourself. So that's really good. As far as productivity, what is your favorite app on your phone?
For productivity. So I have a goofy one, and I don't even know if anybody would use this. Well, I as I mentioned, I love the paper calendar. I finally just started using the Google Calendar. So that has been helpful just with reminders coming up. But a lot of times I'm having to work on the go as well. And you need to send signed documents here, and, somebody else needs this. And I found it's this app called Scannable. Use it. I think I use it every single day. And it is an app that you can scan whatever document. So maybe it's a document you signed or something that you've taken notes on that you need to get over to someone, and it scans your document and turns it into a PDF. And you could scan 8 documents in a row, and it will turn them into a scrolling PDF. So you don't have to fax. You don't have to go to your scanner that's attached to your printer. You can do it all from your phone and then email it straight off to someone.
Nice.
So
yeah.
It's goofy, but and it's free.
I like that.
The amazing thing is it's free. And I use it, I would say, probably daily. But there's often a lot of things that I need to be emailing, or if I've come up with an idea that I'm working on that I need to send over to my graphic designer, because I work with a graphic designer, I can sketch it out just on a napkin if I wanted to, and I could scan it from there, and it cleans it up and turns it into this PDF file.
That's awesome. I use a similar one.
Cool.
Mine's called, the one I use is called Genius Scan. I think it's called Genius Scan.
Okay.
So it's very similar. Yeah. And I think you can upgrade, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
Can.
Oh, I know what it was. We were looking, I had to sign something and send it back. So I think that it was somehow I could upgrade to where I could insert my signature, or,
Oh, wow.
So that was really helpful too. But yeah, Scannable. I'll have to check that one out too and see which one I like. But yeah, Genius Scan is the one that I use.
Okay.
What books are you reading? Are you a reader?
I try to read it depends on what time of year it is. It's a little hectic right now, so I fit in little bits. I do Bible studies with girlfriends, so I'm always reading something like that during my me time in the morning. But I love to read a good fiction book because I just need to just check out for a little while. And sometimes I will read, and sometimes I will use the Audible app. Because it's something I can do on the way to pick my kids up from school. So I recently listened to The Shack on Audible, which is great. They just recently turned into a movie. But I just finished not long ago, was Divergent.
Oh yeah.
And that was made into, I feel like I'm always on way not in style of what I'm reading. It was popular 8 years ago. But they made that into a movie as well. And it was such a good book. I was just sucked in. And I need that stuff because I need a mental, I need to check out from work for a little bit. And as an entrepreneur, it's very hard. I feel like your brain is constantly, it's like a magnet. It constantly keeps going back to work. And so when you find yourself stuck in a good book, it's great because you get to just, have some entertainment for a while. So Divergent was really good. If you haven't read the book or seen the movie, it was great. I loved it.
I have. I really like it. I feel like I'm behind too with stuff. I'm just oh yeah, I just read that and it has been out, for a while. But I
always do that.
I love both of those. I did enjoy the movie The Shack. It was really well done.
I haven't seen the movie yet. So I usually won't, if there's a book I've been wanting to read and a movie comes out, I won't let myself until it's like my reward for reading the book to go see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally just read The Girl on the Train too this summer.
Yes, I read my
I
book
haven't
club
seen the
read
movie
that.
yet. Oh, it's
Okay,
so good.
the movie's good too.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
the movie's pretty good too. Yeah, but I really loved that book. So I read the book with my book club, and then we went to see the movie. And yeah, I try to do whenever it's my turn to pick. I always pick the book that's going to come out as a movie because I just love to see it in film. I mean, it's kind of fun.
Yes.
I mean, it's not all. Sometimes it's disappointing. You know, I recently, what did I just read? Oh, the Glass Castle. If you've not read the Glass Castle, that's a really
I read that
great
a long time
book.
ago.
Mm-hmm. So the movie just came out, and there were a few scenes that I thought should have been added, but other than that, I thought it was very well done. So, yeah.
Oh,
So, what are
good to know.
3 things that you're absolutely loving these days?
As I sit here and talk to you, I have a bowl of pistachios in front of me.
Yeah.
I could eat. They're just this huge bag from Costco. They're the salt and pepper pistachios.
Oh, I have had those.
They're the ones that they're in the shells. You know, they take you a little while to munch on. You kind of have to work to get to them. They're so good. But the problem is I could eat like a whole bag of them in 2 days. They're so amazing.
Too.
So
yeah.
that, I have been watching the show at night it just cracks me up. It's one of those like laugh out loud. And I don't do sitcoms. I don't really even watch a lot of TV, but it's a 30-minute show. I think it's on Bravo, and it's called Odd Mom Out.
I love Odd Mom Out.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
it's crazy.
Laugh.
It's crazy.
It is so funny. And I mean, it's just, and it's short. I love that it's a quick like 30-minute show, but the 3rd season came out not long ago. So for my cable that I get, they're all on demand right now. Oh. And they're hysterical. I think the one-liners in that show are so funny.
They are. So I
have been loving Odd Mom Out.
You need to go back and listen to, I can't remember what episode it is, but I interviewed one of the producers or directors.
Oh, you're kidding.
Of
oh
Odd
my
Mom
gosh.
Out.
That show is, the main character is just hilarious. I wish that she was my neighbor. She's so funny.
And she's real.
She's
that's
funny.
kind of like her real life is what I heard.
Oh.
So that's.
Oh, really?
So she's actually not. So the premise is she's like sort of doesn't fit into her husband's very wealthy Park Avenue family.
Right.
Because she is not that at all. But that's totally her life. That's who she is. Like she does not fit into, she married, into a wealthy family and doesn't fit into that. I enjoy it.
It's just a great show. Great show.
I like it.
Otherwise, gosh, I think what I can't stop talking about lately is, so our family got a puppy back in May. And so he's the baby of the family for sure. And we all just are so smitten with him. So I feel like I'm one of those people that I'm just constantly talking about my dog. And he goes everywhere with me. He sits in the car with me and goes everywhere with me. He's like my little sidekick. So it's so fun. It's a lot of work having a puppy, but oh my gosh, they are just they bring a lot of joy to your day for sure.
What kind of puppy?
So he's a Labradoodle. He's a mid-size, so he's only going to get 25 pounds. So he's on the smaller side, and he's just such a good dog. Just a very chill. If there is a chill puppy, I think we got him.
That's great.
So he's great, and my kids just they love him to death, and he follows them around everywhere and sleeps on their floor, and so it's really cute. He's been a lot of fun to have around. He's actually sitting on my feet right now as we're talking.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That is so sweet. Well, Natalie, thank you so much for coming on. I really have enjoyed
Thanks for having me.
Chatting with you. Listeners, go and check out the Star from Afar. I think that's an awesome product to have in your home and to be able to do that. It's just anything that helps families create memories. It's just tops for me. I love that. So thanks so much.
And yes, no problem. And since Christmas is right around the corner, I feel like we also have, if you go to starfromafar.com/rising stories, I have a downloadable coloring book on there. So it's a 10-page coloring book of just some of the stuff, some of the artwork that goes along with the Star from Afar set, but then just some other fun holiday themed coloring pages. So for any of your listeners that have kids or grandkids out there, it's a fun little freebie that we have there. And while you're on the website, you can check out more information on the story egg as well, because there's kind of some information on how that product works. And there's a cute little video that goes along with it.
Thanks so much.
Yes. Well, it's great chatting with you today. This has been fun.
Natalie was such a gem. I loved talking with her and sharing some of the same love for books and movies. Christmas is around the corner and it's time to get ahead of the game and order some gifts, right? As I'm speaking to myself. Don't forget to grab your free coloring book from Star from Afar. That would be a good stocking stuffer or just something to kind of get everyone ready for the season. So if you missed the link, it will be in your show notes below in the description. And it's also going to be at CorrineSandifer.com. And if you're wanting to read some of those books that Natalie and I mentioned, check out the link to get your 30-day free trial with Audible. And you can listen to them in the car while you're Christmas shopping. So please consider supporting Rising Stories podcast by purchasing books and products mentioned on the show. Thanks so much for listening and keep rising in your own story.